We're about to pull out a John Morlan Chrysler in this brand new 2026 Dodge Charger Scat Pack. It's got a beautiful, beautiful interior. This awesome red accent lighting on the door panels and the dash. And John, what are some of the features I'm seeing on the screen right here?
So what you're seeing is our drive mode screen, where you can go in and tailor the car to how you want it to drive for you. Now, auto is how, when you get in and just push the start button, that's how it's going to turn on every time. You have a sport mode, which turns the transmission and the engine into a more sporty version of, more spirited driving is what I would say. It keeps the RPMs a little higher, a little longer. It doesn't skiff shift on the transmission as often, because the car's assuming that you're wanting to enjoy the drive a little bit more than if you were just trying to get out of your neighborhood or get the car up to, some warmer temperatures. You're always going to want to jump in a car and, gradually get the engine up to operating temperature, and not just jump in and, just start hammering on the throttle. That's really not good for, most vehicles, I would say, or all. But you do have some other drive modes here. Wet and snow is super nice for any inclement weather driving. Since this does have an all-wheel drive system, you can have confidence when you want to take the car out, whenever it may be, raining most of the day. But you can, change it on the fly. And it's got some really nice differences on what it does with the transmission and engine. Again, in the wet snow, it's going to start out in second gear instead of first gear. It's going to slow down the shift pattern so that it's not aggressively going into the next gear, so you have minimal wheel and tire slippage. So it just gives you a lot more confidence in that inclement weather. But the car still drives incredible. You really wouldn't know it's wet out if you have it in that mode, because the car does perform so well with that technology. Now I'm going to put it back in sport and we can enjoy it a little bit. And just like that, we're up to the speed limit, and I wasn't even honestly full throttle. So the car absolutely performs amazingly well for, how heavy it is. This car weighs over 4,000 pounds. But with the all-wheel drive system and that inline 3-liter twin-turbo Hurricane high-output engine, the inline configuration of the engine helps it have a lot more torque. Fingers crossed there's a lot of longevity. There always has been longevity behind inline configuration engines. So, the technology's there, the history's there. All we just need to do is put some time and miles on these things to really see, what time will tell. One thing I will point out is, it is an all-wheel drive system, but you can still put it in rear-wheel drive. So you can still do your line lock, you can still do your smoky burnouts, you can still drift the car if that's your thing. So it did not take any drivability out of the vehicle for having it have an all-wheel drive, drivetrain.
And one thing I noticed, John, was how roomy the back seats actually are in this thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. It does have a ton of rear seating room and leg room. The seats are very deep and very wide bolstered and comfortable, as well as my favorite options about the car is that it has an automatic feature where if you pull up on the tassel on the back of the seats on driver and passenger side, it will move the seat automatically up for the passenger to access the rear. And then once you put the seat back to the back position to where it was, it will move the seat back to the last position before you moved it forward. So that's really nice. It's all hands-free once you make the initial pull and you push it back. But you know, saves your back, saves you from having to lean over and move the seat manually, or you know, down at the bottom with the power. If you've ever had a two-door car with a power driver seat, it is really nice, but it does take some time to get people in and out of the car if they're not, you know, small children or small-bodied people.
Gotcha.
Now, Jake, you did point out the red lighting that runs in the doors, across the dash, and then down your side. It is red for now, but what's really cool about the car is it has an attitude adjustment. So you can slide this color wheel to pretty well any color that sets your mood for the day. That's green, there's yellow, there's pink, there's light blue, there's dark blue. I mean, really,
that is really
I don't know how many different colors that you could choose on this spectrum, but it's truly a rainbow spectrum of options. And that is just a really cool style cue, in my personal opinion. We've had different lighting options, but they've always been limited to like 4 or 5 different colors. So I really like the customization of having that. And then we also have a mirror dimmer. So if you're nighttime driving, a lot of these new modern vehicles have really bright LED headlamps. That mirror dimmer helps cut down on the headlamp reflecting in your side view and rear view mirror, so that it's not quite as blinding at night. Now, sometimes some people's lights just seem offensive, but that is just the technology and where it's headed on some of these new modern vehicles.
Right. You know, one thing I really thought was neat was that the engine start button is down here near the shifter instead of in the dash like a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, it's a new thing. I mean, there's going to be some people that hate it. There's going to be some people that love it. And honestly, in my opinion, there's going to be some people that don't necessarily love the inside and outside of this car because it's changed so much. But this is where the future has gone. Personally, I don't say judge a book by its cover. You really need to get yourself in one of these cars, whether it's a Scat Pack or an RT, whether it's the 2-door or 4-door. And back to what you were saying about the interior room, Jake, the 4-door version of this vehicle is no longer or shorter than the 2-door version. So they just take the door, cut it a little bit shorter, and then add a rear door to the vehicle. So the seats, the interior room, all of it is the same across both models. It's just, do you want 4 doors or can you handle 2 doors?
That is really, really cool.
Yeah, my favorite things about the interior are, you know, the red stitching with the black leather wrapped dash and doors. We've got real carbon fiber across the doors and the dash. You've got the LED lighting that you can really see stand out and accent the vehicle at night. And then subtle but very tasteful touches of Alcantara with the red stitching as well, which is this soft touch material here. I mean, the interior really does impress, and the technology and, you know, quality is very high. I'm very happy with what Dodge has done with this vehicle.
That is very cool. What do you say, you think we could pull off over here at the park and maybe do a walk around? You could talk about that, show them what the exhaust sounds like.
Absolutely.
So John, what can you say about how that performed around the curve and the acceleration and all that?
So the car feels very planted on the road. You don't feel the rear end try to kick out or slide out. That's with, the all-wheel drive system engaged in sport mode or in auto. Of course, if you put it in rear-wheel drive, I'm sure the rear end becomes a lot more playful. We were not finding out about that today. We're not shooting that video today.
That's awesome. Yeah, it definitely sounded great. It seemed like it just really handled well from what I saw on the outside. And the shifting as well seemed like it was very, very smooth.
Yeah, since we did a couple different runs, I went through and did just a, roll on the throttle with it in auto, and it did great. I played around with it in the paddle shift mode at the end, and to be honest, I'm not super familiar with the car to hit the shift points as precise as the automatic transmission can. I mean, truly, it's hard to compete with how fast technology has gotten.
Yeah. And how did it drive on these curvy county roads?
Again, it felt planted, even under throttle. The car does weigh more than 4,000 pounds, and as I've stated many times before, it is all-wheel drive, and this car is equipped with the 20 by 11 inch wheel and tire package that gives you 305 inch tires on all four corners. So that does help give you a lot of stability and confidence when you are taking those corners at a little speed. Again, I was not pushing or testing the limits of the car at all, just trying to make it a little bit more fun for the video.
Good. And you mentioned earlier, I think we can see it a little bit better now because the sun's in a different part of the sky, but you mentioned the carbon fiber trim up here on the dash. You can see it very well here with that awesome Charger badge now that it's in the sun. And then you mentioned down here.
Yeah, we've got in the center console, it's trimmed with the carbon fiber and the leather accented stitched, interior. And then we also have, the lighting on the inside that you might be able to see better in the door pockets at this time of the day. And it's totally customizable with that attitude adjustment here on the screen. Really cool stuff. I do want to show you something that we didn't get to go over before, but these performance pages, you have your gauges that you would be able to find in here individually, or maybe even, 2 or 3 at a time displayed on your center cluster. But here in the middle, you can display some pretty cool stuff. We've got intercooler coolant temp, boost pressure, air-fuel ratio, engine horsepower, engine torque, and then it even has a wheel slip meter, which is super cool. And then you've got your coolant temp, oil pressure, oil temp, transmission temp, battery voltage, and air intake temperatures. So some really neat stuff. One of my favorite onboard things is the onboard dyno that has the real-time horsepower and torque as we are using the throttle. So this is real-time. It'll track it up to 2 minutes. This is displaying 30 seconds right now. It also will tell you what RPM you're at what gear you're shifting. So it is super cool. It is a lot of technology packed into a small package, I would say. You okay?
Oh yeah, it's good. I just the gimbal messed up a little bit, but I think we're still good.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, it's got horsepower and torque, and then your RPM and your shifting for what gear you're in, for what how much horsepower and torque you're making, and then you've got a G-force meter, which is pretty neat for if you're cornering really hard or if you're braking or accelerating really hard. It's got all the G-forces for all that. So the car, comes with a ton of technology. It's even got timers here for quarter mile, eighth mile, 1,000 foot, 0 to 60, 0 to 300.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, these are estimated times, but I mean, gosh dang, that's so cool to have all this just in one car.
Oh, yeah. And I've got to say, after riding in it with you this time, you know, for a sports car like this, it's actually very, very smoothly riding.
Yeah, I mean, the weight of the vehicle is over 4,000 pounds, and the suspension is very intelligent. I believe we've been riding in the sport mode for most of the trip, but it does have auto, which will turn it, the shocks and the steering and some of those other settings into the street mode, which just really makes it more forgiving and comfortable and a very relaxing ride. Still connected, you know, to the road, but just even more comfortable than what we were currently experiencing.
Yeah. One last thing, too. Can you tell me more about this screen over here to the left you were talking about a little bit earlier when we were off camera?
So this is your Electronic Vehicle Information Center, or EVIC for short, in front of me here, in front of the steering wheel now. It's got different modes that you can have on display. Now, that was a super fancy mode that I prefer. Now, it does have where you can have your navigation, GPS maps, and turn-by-turn all in front of you as well. But since we're here locally, I know where we're going. Don't necessarily need that. But if I was, you know, road tripping, I might want to do something like that. And then it's got this other screen here that has a digital RPM gauge and digital speedometer, and as well as a boost pressure gauge for your twin turbo engine. So if you have turbos, you know, or a supercharged engine, it's pretty cool to be able to see what kind of boost that you're making, and it's just a cool factor gauge, in my opinion. It's good information, but really it's just very cool in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it is. It's got the charging dock down here. You can charge your phone, just lay it flat on there. You can see it down at the bottom of the screen. John's getting a call right now, but
yeah, it even has a launch control button, so it'll fully lock the front disc brakes, and you can put your foot all the way down on the throttle, and it will hold the RPM at a certain range, and after you let off the brake, the car will absolutely just launch, and you are hauling.
That's awesome. So realistically, you know, as great of a daily driver as this can be, you could also make this a track car. You could take this to the track, if you think.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is a very well-rounded vehicle. This would definitely be something that you could drive rain or shine, sleet or snow. This car is on the go. I mean, seriously, you could take it to the drag strip and run quarter-eighth miles. With it being all-wheel drive and you know, with the 20 by 11 inch wheel package, you could take this to a road course track and you could track the car out there. I mean, the sky's the limit with this car.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this has been a really, really fun ride. We are almost to the dealership, and John, if I could ask you for one more thing, I'm wondering when we get back here in a minute or so, if you could just go over some of the exterior features on it one more time. There was something you mentioned about the back seats you could do.
Yeah, I can definitely do some product highlights when we make it back, for sure.
Yeah. And so we're down at Dealership Row right here. We're about to pull up to the best dealership on Seamers Drive. That's John Morlan Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
You know it?
Yeah, there's our pre-owned center right over there. If you're ever looking for a pre-owned vehicle, we've got plenty of those for you.
Yeah, we've got over 270 used vehicles in stock or in transit to our dealership. So don't forget, we are the largest used car and certified pre-owned dealer in Southeast Missouri.
That's awesome. Well, we're here to the beautiful showroom right now, and John's going to go ahead and pull this to a staging area where we can go ahead and show you some of the exterior features of the vehicle. What we'll do is as soon as we park, we're going to go ahead and hop out, and then John's going to go over some of that stuff with us. We've got our excellent selection of Rams here to the left. We've got our Jeep Cherokees and Grand Cherokees over here to the right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hop out and look over some of these exterior features.
All right, come on over, Jake. So we'll unbutton our little tassel there, and you just pull up and forward on that chair, and as you can see, it moves back so the passenger can get in nice and easy. Now just push that seat back. There you go. It's going to move right back to where you last had it, where the driver was just sitting. And Jake, if you can see, I've got at least 5 inches of leg room from my knees to the back of that seat. I'm 5'11", and I am absolutely, I am lean back as far as I can lean. I am super comfortable. You've got an armrest with cup holders built into the back seat. I've got another middle seat for somebody small, and I've got another passenger seat over here. Now these seats are heated on this side and mine. It also has USB-C chargers here in the middle. It's going to be hard for Jake to get a shot, but they do have USB-C chargers in the middle. I will point out this is a suede headliner, part of the carbon fiber interior package for $19.95. Worth every penny in my personal opinion. And then yeah, you just push it forward. It moves forward for you.
Yeah, well, you know, with this being a two-seater or a two-door sports car, could you maybe show us some of the room it's got in the trunk?
Yeah, let me, got the key right here. It's got a little button on the key I can press twice. It'll open the lift gate.
Wow.
Yeah, it is kind of a hatch, kind of like the old Ford Fox bodies.
Yeah.
But it is pretty neat the way that you do have a pretty good room there. You do have a sunshade or a privacy shade that you can put up here. We try to leave it down so people can actually still see in the car while they're shopping.
Right.
And then you do have some storage, and I say some because, to be honest, there's not a lot, but it does have a funnel for your fuel. If you were, straight on the side of the road, had run out of fuel and needed a funnel to be able to reach into your gas tank.
Right.
And then you do have a tire inflator kit. They do not put spare tires on very many new cars anymore. We just looked it up the other day. It was like 10 to 15% of new vehicles made today actually come with a spare tire. So it's far and few between, honestly. You do have a button. Sorry, I was looking for it. You do have a button right there to press.
Wow. Wow.
Now, if you're back here with the key, you can also press that textured button built in right there.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, super nice. We're very happy to add this vehicle to our product line. The body redesign, whether you hate it or love it, it's here to stay. And I truly think if you get behind the wheel of this car, whether you hate or love the way that it looks, it will win you over by the way that it drives, the technology that it offers, and just the pure luxury behind the vehicle. I mean, these cars have come so far from 2015.
Sure.
So, yeah, again, I really encourage everybody to check them out. Come down here, especially during our month where we have Dodge Power Dollars right now. Being able to save an extra $5,500, an extra $10 per horsepower on this model with our John Morlan discount of $5,000 right now. That's $10,500 in total savings. I mean, this car's not going to be here long, and this car is in orange peel orange, so that color's not even being made anymore. You can't even order it. So come and get it before it's gone, because once it's gone, you are not going to be able to get another 2026 New Again in this color.
Well,
so
John,
if you like it at all, come check it out.
Awesome. You know what, John, one last thing. I'm going to go ahead and do a walk around on this beautiful, beautiful Charger. But if there's one favor you could do for me, could you hop back in the driver's seat, and when I get around to the back, could you maybe let him hear the exhaust a little bit?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It would be my pleasure.
Excellent. Well, come down to John Morlan Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Seamers Drive in Cape Girardeau and check this out for yourself.